It seems the giant that was once the Ferrari team is still finding it difficult to make a comeback this season. There are numerous compelling stories surrounding the Hungarian Grand Prix, and among them is a major highlight revolving around Ferrari and its management. Historically, Ferrari is one of Formula One's top competitors, but over the last 15 years, the team has been struggling significantly to match the dominance of its competitors, Red Bull, Mercedes, McLaren, etc. This unmet expectation of Ferrari has led its fans to heartbreak each season. Notably, the unceasing issues affecting the team during the past years recurred again at the Hungarian Grand Prix this 2023 season, and Leclerc was the one at the receiving end. If you want the details of what happened, you'd have to stick around. Charles Leclerc, one of Ferrari's drivers, lost nearly 10 seconds at the race due to pit stop woes, which resulted in denying him 2 higher place finishes. In addition to this, Ferrari also faced technical problems with the radios. Leclerc's performance was also hindered by water, and the team lacked an all-around, flawless strategic decision. This seems to be Ferrari's current reality, and one cannot help but wonder how such a promising and prestigious team fell off the radar. Driving for Ferrari isn't child's play, hence it puts its drivers on a high pedestal, as much is expected from them. This shabby performance by Ferrari at the Hungarian Grand Prix illuminates and highlights the unwavering challenges the team has been facing. A lot of collective effort is needed in the Ferrari team to foster change and get them at the top of their game, to meet and exceed the high expectations placed upon them. Ferrari and its fans should not have to keep living and basking in past euphoric moments when it comes to the performance of the Ferrari team in the highly competitive world of Formula One. Ferrari's performance this season is not new in the history of Formula One. If we recall clearly, in the 2022 F1 season, Ferrari had a disappointing season, which led them to blaming Mattia Binotto and the strategy team. Despite having a compelling start, they lost world championships by quite a huge margin, and Binotto became the team's ex-principal. It is quite clear that Binotto was not the problem, as the team is still facing the problems it had in 2022 in 2023. Ferrari still hasn't learned from what went wrong in 2022, and these enormous wrong strategic decisions have invaded both Sainz and Leclerc's races. And everyone associated with the team, both directly and indirectly, seems unsatisfactory with them. A change in management has proven not to be the team's problem. So, what exactly is the problem at Ferrari? One would think a radio problem wouldn't be faced by a prestigious team such as Ferrari, but that is not the case. Ferrari has been facing numerous radio problems. Words spoken by engineers aren't understood due to this problem, which imposes a huge communication barrier between drivers and the pit walls. This radio challenge has occurred in about 3 to 4 races, and it is mind-boggling that such an A-list team is finding it difficult to resolve this issue. It was obvious during the race at the Hungarian Grand Prix that the two drivers were operating on different strategies. Charles Leclerc missed out on the World Championship last year, and it seems like history is about to repeat itself this year. Ferrari's challenges are visibly reflecting on the drivers, and have taken a huge toll on Leclerc. He is going through another tough season with Ferrari, and he is beginning to feel hopeless. His feelings of hopelessness is understandable for someone who was in direct contention for the 2022 World Championship in the first half of the 2022 season. Charles Leclerc currently holds a P7 position in the Drivers' Championship with 84 points, and this is 8 points less than his teammate Carlos Sainz, who is 2 places ahead of him. This brings us to conclude maybe, just maybe, this is the reason why Ferrari was against the strategy of Leclerc swapping cars with Carlos, when it was obvious Carlos was not doing so well in the Hungarian race. Both Leclerc and Ferrari are at the receiving end of the backlash that is the outcome of their race at the Hungarian Grand Prix. Although the majority of the lash rests on the shoulders of Ferrari rather than the driver, this is because the team has yet to act on the enormous strategic calls it faced last year. All is not well at the Ferrari house, and we wonder if they are actively listening to their audience rather than still living in their past reputation. During the race, Leclerc was engaged in a heated conversation with his engineer due to a heap of problems he encountered. Carlos Sainz, Ferrari's second driver, also experienced a weird encounter during the qualifying session of the Grand Prix. A new rule by F1 requires drivers to use hard tyres in Q1, medium in Q2, and soft in Q3. Teams and drivers have adopted different practice programs and tyre preparation strategies, which has led to different performances across the grid. Sainz, like others, is seeking to understand the reason for these new regulations and how they affect the performance across the grid. He had this to say to the media: "I've been feeling weird with the medium compound all weekend. Every time I was running it, For some reason, we were always struggling a lot in Sector 1 in getting them to work, and it was even harder than the hard tyre. I knew Q2 was going to be a tough session for us. We got through Q1 nicely, but then as soon as I put the compound on again, I was sliding a lot in Sector 1 and was not able to put a decent lap together. The lap wasn't too bad, but I just lacked a bit of grip. It is a shame, but it was 2000s, which is a new F1 and costs you a lot. We have to analyze it. It isn't possible to analyze during qualifying, but I am sure we will come up with an understanding of why. It is unfortunate that on this particular weekend, you have to be using the medium in Q2, but that's how it goes. With this statement from Sainz, we do not know if he's trying to save face as a result of his performance by adding to the limitless challenges the team is facing. Irrespective of Sainz's intention, it does not negate the fact that Ferrari is being shabby in their management. His teammate Leclerc also faced challenges during the race. The team's principal, Fred Vasseur, had a different outlook towards the situation. In his address to Sky Sports, he admitted they were expecting more for qualifying because they performed well during free practice and other simulations. He included that the turn of events of their race means they didn't work well, and that new format isn't an issue since it is the same for everybody and it worked for them. Is Vasseur's statement a direct counter to that of his driver Carlos Sainz? The trouble in Ferrari's paradise seems to be amusing. Still on Ferrari's highlight from the Hungarian Grand Prix is the famous incident which occurred between Charles Leclerc and his race engineer, which caught the attention of spectators. Around the midway of the race, Leclerc found himself falling behind his teammate Carlos Sainz after experiencing a slow first pit stop. This prompted him to initiate a conversation over the radio with his race engineer, and the exchange revealed his discontent with the situation. He asked to be offset with his strategy. His engineer's reply was, "We are discussing it with the end," and he wasn't happy with this dismissal, which resulted in him responding in an aggressive tone asking, "What do you mean at the end?" It should be noted that at the onset of the race, Ferrari made a decision not to switch their drivers even though Sainz was trailing Leclerc with a fresh set of tyres. At the end of the race, while Leclerc was reflecting during a post-race exchange, he clarified there was a problem with the radio communication, which caused him to come across as aggressive during his conversation with his race engineer. Leclerc finished the race at the 6th position on the track, but was later reviewed to 7th as a result of a 5 seconds time penalty for speeding the pit lane with just 0.7 km/h. Leclerc revealed that he also faced other problems apart from the radio situation during the race. At the start of the race, he received news to race without any fluid intake, which means he could not hydrate during the race. His first pit stop took 9 seconds, which further reduced his chance. Leclerc did face a challenging and frustrating and difficult weekend. He struggled with a low Ferrari car and also had strategic battles with his team. Having faced this entire ordeal, Leclerc buttressed the need for Ferrari to raise their game to remain competitive in the upcoming races. He says there is a lot of work to do within the team. It is safe to conclude that the driver and strategy team relationship at Ferrari is not straightforward. It seems the Ferrari team is having a problem understanding what strategy is. The team feels like it has different teams just racing under its name, therefore engaging in strategy blunders. Ferrari needs stability that goes beyond just changing its management team. The car, drivers, and the entire team needs an in-depth evaluation. Maybe what needs to be done right now is to work on their development, so that they can make a comeback in the 2024 season much stronger. There is high tension within the Ferrari team, and the situation has to be arrested with so much precision because they can't afford to keep disappointing their fans, and also hiding behind the respect they are probably getting due to their incredible performance in the past. Ferrari should use its competitors as a blueprint to understand what it means by teamwork. How optimistic are you towards Ferrari finding their way back into Formula 1? Kindly let us know your thoughts and opinions on this season's race in the comment section. Also, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. See you in the next video.